Tim Pancakes.
Hello everybody, Tim Pancakes here, and today I'm doing a few things. This is the English Simmers Shell Challenge, hashtag the EngliSheller, I think is what the hashtag is, and this is in conjunction with the 2020 Sims Pride celebration. So I'm a member of the LGBTQ plus community. I am doing a series of videos on my channel this month for the month of Pride, and today I am doing another solid color build using the EngliSheller challenge. I decided to do purple for this build because purple is my favorite color. Just to kind of go over my guidelines for the solid color builds that I've been doing. So far I've posted a green and a blue on my channel, and I've got a few more in my back pocket. But I'm just trying to focus on one primary solid color with the acceptance of neutrals as well. So you will see that I'll have whites and blacks and beiges and things as neutral colors. In some cases, as long as an item has the color that I'm looking for in it, I call it good to go. So it's not a very strict solid color challenge, but I'm learning to build, and this is really helping me dig deeper into the catalog and look at different swatches. So that's kind of why I set up those parameters for myself. And purple was challenging, I was finding, as I'm working on the exterior of the building, because there's not a whole lot of purple. On the interior, purple exploded everywhere, and I really love the interior. But for the outside, I was kind of limited. I thought that these wood planks had kind of a purple hue to them. The same goes for the stone that I put in the back. And then I just did the white accents for the doors and the windows. But I love this build. I kind of had it just take off, and it turned into this kind of weird, funky, modern build, and it's absolutely my style. Like, if I was going to buy another house right now, I would want a modern vibe like this, but I've never built anything like this, and I didn't think I could build anything like this. So I'm glad that the shell kind of started me off with this direction, and then I just went from there. So you'll see how it turns, how it evolves throughout the video. The other thing I wanted to do in this video in particular was share my coming out story, because as a gay man, I certainly have my own experiences with the coming out process, and I would like to share them with you for a few reasons. One, purple again is my favorite color, so I just kind of really identify with this build specifically, and because the English Simmer has her collaboration going right now, I just thought this was the perfect time to get a little bit more personal. And it's a longer build, so I'll do my best to comment on what's happening in the build while going through my life with you. So I guess, I've always known that I liked boys. I remember that my first crush was in first grade, and I would always flirt with Gary by picking him during Heads Up 7-Up, that game where you run and touch people's hands with their heads down, and he never picked me or guessed that it was me that was picking him, so I kind of hoped, oh, well, if he guesses that it's me, he must like me back, but that didn't happen. So kind of throughout elementary school and middle school, I had crushes on different boys at my school. In middle school, I also had crushes on girls, which was confusing for me because my feelings for them felt different than the crushes I had on boys. So I'm almost wondering now in retrospect if I really just kind of liked their vibe and wanted to be friends with them, but I thought it was a crush. So there are a handful of girls that, I obsessed over when I was in middle school, but I also had crushes on guys in middle school too. And a few teachers, actually, if I'm being honest. So, anyway, getting into high school, I certainly became more accepting of myself, because when I was in middle school, I would go to church on occasion, and I really tried to pray the gay away. I thought that there was something wrong with me. There was such a negative stigma. People would call me gay as an insult, and, there was no representation of gay people in the media, and if there was on television or movies, it was usually a pretty, extreme stereotype, and, they were always the butt of the joke and everything. And there was also, careers, like, oh, teachers can't be, yeah, teachers can't be gay, and I wanted to be a teacher. So I just really wanted to change, and so I would pray that that would happen, and of course, nothing ever did change. Except from my own perspective, I learned to accept myself. And so going into high school, I was a little bit more confident and, continued to have crushes, that sort of thing. I never really dated anyone, girl or boy. I had a few girlfriends, but, we'd hold hands at the park and maybe we'd update our MySpaces. Although that's not even, this is before MySpace, so no, we didn't do that. But, that kind of thing. It was nothing serious. I think I've kissed one girl in my life, and that was when I was in college because I was experimenting. So, yeah, I dated a boy my senior year of high school, and same thing. It wasn't very serious. We just hung out and stuff. And he went to a different high school, but he came to my band concert, and I think I went to his band concert because we were both in band at our respective schools. But it was, just a short-lived high school romance because he was younger than me, and I was getting ready to go to college in the fall, so I didn't really want any baggage. So we broke up. And then I got to college, and at this point, I wasn't out. Like, my high school boyfriend was a secret boyfriend that, like, one friend knew about. So I hadn't come out to anybody, really, except for, like, one friend. A lot of people suspected, of course, but I just didn't confirm it. And I think, for me, the reason that I didn't want to come out was I just kind of felt like it wasn't anyone's business. I really resented that people jumped to conclusions about me because, even in elementary school or middle school, before I had done anything romantic with either gender, people would just jump to conclusions and call me those names. And, that's really bothered me because they don't know. And so I was just kind of stubborn and resisted it and denied it. That was the key, is I really denied it to everybody because I wasn't ashamed. I just didn't want them to, A, assume anything about me, or B, change the way they thought of me. I didn't want to become like the gay friend or the gay cousin or whatever. So I just resisted it and denied it to everybody. And then when I got to college, I'm meeting people for the first time and meeting people and just meeting them as myself. I'm coming out in the introduction. So now I'm kind of living a double life because my friends from high school that are at the same university don't know, and my new friends do. So for probably maybe 2 or 3 months, I was living a double life until my friends accidentally found things on my computer that outed me to them, and nothing terrible, but, like a chat or something like that. And then all my friends found out because of that. And they felt betrayed because they had defended me to everybody for years. And so they were upset, not because I was gay, but because I lied to them. And so that was an entirely different conversation. But I also kind of felt like, well, it's my business. Like, why are you mad? So that was a bit of a struggle. But we came through it, and we're all still very close. They've definitely, I think, opened up their minds into what I was going through. And with the distance, I can be more understanding of where they were coming from. So in college, I was out, and I came out to my family members individually, and they've all been very supportive and helpful with the process. And, I'm very fortunate because so many people don't have that support with their families, and I do. I have a wonderful family, and so I was very blessed in that way and really love that about my experience. I started dating a boy online when I was a freshman in college, and it ended up being a catfish situation. That is an entirely different story. It's really long. It basically, in short, is that I dated someone online for a year and a half and never met them, and it turned out that it was my best friend pretending to be this boy online the whole time. And so if you ever want to hear that story, I'd be happy to share a version of that, maybe on another speed build or something. But it definitely messed up my head a lot. I felt betrayed. I had severe trust issues, in such a transitional period of my life where I'm trying to learn about who I am and to try to start dating and everything. To have that happen, it affected me. And I'm in my early 30s now and probably still have some PTSD from that experience. So I'm doing the best that I can. But the only other things, I guess, to really mention are even after coming out in in college, I kind of thought, okay, I've done that. That's the hard part. But then a couple years later, the whole gay marriage controversy happened, and I found out that a friend of mine didn't support gay marriage. She said, I love you, but I think marriage is between a man and a woman. And that just really baffled me. I thought, after years of me being out and living my true self and having kind of cultivated a support group around me of loved ones that supported me and loved me, I didn't think I'd hear something like that from that group. And so it was definitely opened my eyes to the fact that there's still a lot of ignorance out in the world, even in the people that say they love me and care about me. And I guess the last thing to talk about is when I had to come out to my grandmother, because after coming out in college, I didn't really realize I'd have to do it again, but I never confirmed it with my grandparents. And my paternal grandmother, who I was closer to, passed away before I came out to her. And I believe that she loved me, and she probably knew. And I've always regretted that I never came out to her before she passed away. So that was kind of a catalyst to come out to my mom's parents, who were both still alive at the time. And I've since lost both of them, but I decided to come out to Grandma first because I thought that would be easier. And I'm glad I did, because I don't think Grandpa would have been very accepting. Grandma even told me, don't tell Grandpa. But she ultimately said that she just didn't want to know about it, which was super hard. I know she loves me, but she just doesn't understand, wasn't brought up that way, is from a very rural, conservative area with conservative values. And to her, I think when there's like a family secret or something, you just don't talk about that. You don't talk about things like that. You sweep it under the rug and keep it private. And so that's kind of what I was to her, I think. I think she lived for another 2 years after I had come out to her. And even though it didn't go super well, I'm glad that I did it. And again, I know that she loves me in her way. So that's my coming out story. As I was designing this house, I imagined that it was for a single mom and her child. And I don't know if the child is a teen, a young adult, male, female, non-binary, gay. I imagined that regardless of how the child identified, the mother was 100% supportive. This was the house in the neighborhood where all kids are welcome as they are. And so I had a lot of fun getting creative with that and trying to come up with the personalities of the people that live here. So enjoy the screenshots. Thank you for watching, and that's a stack.